watching the rise. And I wouldn't say I'm shocked cause I'm hardly surprised. This one's for the ride. This one's for who knew I'd make it, just needed some time. This one's for my wife. Could have left 1,000 times just so.
Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Randy Kaye, and I'm the host of the Caught Up Podcast. Today we have Tony Medina. He is a travel ball coach from Southern California, and he is the owner of Medina Softball Clinics, a company that provides weekly defensive clinics in different cities in Southern California. Tony also travels the country putting on remote camps for those looking to improve their defensive skill set. Tony, it's always great to see you. Thanks for taking the time to catch up.
Man, thanks for having me. First of all, man, I want to thank you, man, for again having me on, but doing a great job with the softball community. And I think I was watching one of the podcasts with Derek Allister, and man, he's an awesome guy as well. But he was saying that you're one of the good guys, and I truly
I don't know
believe
if that's a good thing.
Yeah, softball is pretty wild, and travel ball especially. At all ages, but you're one of the good guys.
Yeah. The old saying, nice guys finish last, right? So I don't know if that translates to good guys too.
Yeah.
But
sometimes
we'll see.
It feels that way. Yeah.
We'll see. No, I appreciate that. How's everything for you, man? What's going on in your world?
Ooh, man, I am busy. Since April 24, I've been off of work and I went out on, some stress leave and, tackled the softball thing, and it's been working out really, really well. So, man, I just been booked, even this week, I think I'm on a 10-day run. And this weekend on Friday, I do a lot with the little leagues. So softball leagues, and I have Walnut on Friday. Saturday, I have Brea. Sunday, I have TGSL, which is Torrance Girls Softball League. And then I start again Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And I think next week I'm heading to Vegas for an ASA tournament, but I'm doing a camp on that Friday night. And then, I think in about a month and a half, I'm heading to Hawaii again, 2 islands.
How many times you been there?
Many times. That actually was life-changing for me. And there's a story behind that, Randy. I remember, getting started about I don't know. I've been doing this for about 15 to 20 years, but about 10 years ago, there was a Hawaii team in town for nationals, and that team was called Pacific Pride. And I think it was Paul Granado and I. We were doing a camp, and it was with another organization, and they had asked if hey, we can come out to one of your Medina Softball Clinic camps, the up camps, and so we held that in West Covina that night, and they loved it. They brought 2 teams out, and there was a guy named Jerry Painter, and he's one of my buddies. Ryan Sousa, he's no longer here with us, but he set that up. Or actually, I set that camp up. They came down, they loved it, and after the camp, they said, "Hey, we're going to bring you to Hawaii." And I was like, "Stop, man! Stop playing with my emotions, brother. I've never been to Hawaii." 2 months later, on a flight, I had to pinch myself a couple of times, going, "Man, this is really happening." And at that point, I knew, hey, I have something special here. And so when I got off the plane, Jerry was there and threw me the keys to a van. Everything was all paid for. Condo right across the street from the beach in Kaye. And man, I've been going ever since. A couple years after that, I went with Lisa Fernandez. She was my guest with her family. It's just been amazing. So, to travel all over the country, especially Hawaii, and do camps there and get paid.
Right.
Pretty incredible.
Yeah. I mean, like us travel ball guys, for the most part, we don't have kids. So, we get to travel, and it usually doesn't cost us too much or nothing, if anything. Right. So, but to actually go do it, have fun with it, and then come home with some extra money or get paid for it, like you said, dude, you got something good going. It's funny because I was talking to George Arahu the other day.
That's my dude right there, man.
I know, man. I was talking to him about a kid. I had a kid at another camp this past weekend, and little middle infielder, shortstop. And I said, dude, George, and I had told him already. I said, I got to get this kid in front of you. And so I said, hey, I'm gonna be talking to Tony. I think I got to get a hold of that dude. And he goes, oh man, tell him I said, what's up? Tell him I said hi.
That's my guy, man.
Yeah. I said, hey man, I said, cause, and I'm gonna put this out there. So years ago, I can't remember who was that said it. They're like, oh, Tony Medina, he's just like George Arahu Jr. or something like that. And so I asked George, I said, hey man, and I was messing with him. I'm like, hey, so some people are telling me that Tony ripped you off. And he goes, oh man, he goes, no, man. He goes, oh, tell that dude. He goes, he's a hustler, man. He just went out there and took it and did his thing. And he goes, I do my thing. He does his thing. He's got his piece of it. And he's like, but tell him I'm proud of him. He goes, but I'll tell you one thing. He goes, I did hear one time that he was videoing my camps at Joey Quarles' facility.
Never. I'll tell you what happened. I know that story. So, man,
he loves you, man. He had nothing. Dude, he's so proud of you.
He's a good dude, man.
Yep.
So what happened was, years ago, I, was going to dive into this and do it, try to learn as much as possible. And I always looked up to George. And let me go ahead and tell you a story about George when I first met him, though.
Yeah.
So I think my daughter, she was having a friendly. I think it was at Artesia Park way back in the day. And one of my buddies from high school, he actually played a lot of adult baseball as well. His name was Bobby Creel. And he was there that day at the friendly. His daughter was on, I don't know if you remember, Lakewood Ladies that George was coaching.
Yeah.
And I didn't know George.
I remember it when Freeman coached it.
Yeah. Okay. There you
Mike
go.
Freeman. Yeah.
Right? So, yeah, exactly. So I was with Bobby and his daughter was on George's team. And I was watching them warm up. And it was the first time that I've ever seen girls, female athletes, play like boys. Just the arm angles, the quick hands. And even George was mixing it up there too. He was getting in there, throwing it around and everything. And I was like, man, who is this guy? And he goes, oh, that's my boy George, man. He's a cool cat. You want to meet him? And I'm like, yeah, And so he brings me up to George, and I was like, hey, man, I really love your players and how they move, and they're so smooth. And I was watching you out there too, George. Did you play? And he goes, yeah. As a matter of fact, I just got back from Arizona for a national baseball tournament out there, for adults. And I was like, dude, I just got back too. And he goes, really? And I go, and then I said, hey, how'd you guys do? And he goes, we took it all. We won. And he goes, what about you? And I was like, we did okay.
Yeah.
And then we became buddies after that. And he said, hey, if you want, you can come down to, our practice, the next weekend. So I went down there and he was with Tony Rico and Norm and Don and everybody. And it was pretty cool, man. I think at that time, it was Katie Medina. That was their shortstop. And man, this kid was just smooth. I've actually done some stuff with her as well. Brought her out. I think we did a podcast not too. Actually, I did a podcast with George and Katie. But it was just amazing to see, at that time, maybe 15 years ago, 16 years ago, just how these players were moving out there defensively. And so, George used to have his clinics. I think it was in Cerritos with Joey and Sean Quarles out there at this warehouse. And I went once and I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. And then it got back to me from one of my buddies, Hank Rodriguez. He said, hey, Norm says you're still in drills, Tony. And I'm like, dude, I am not still in drills, man. I just respect what the guy's doing, and it's awesome. But no,
don't we all steal? We all steal, don't we?
Yeah, well, yeah. We take this, but what, so I never went back. I never went back because I didn't want anybody saying, hey, I'm still in drills and everything. Sure. And, but today, even yesterday, one of my buddies, Roger Jimenez, sent me a video and from some other guy out there doing camps, and a new guy. And he says, this looks like your camp, Tony, and everything that we used to do. I'm like, and I said, look, man, hey, have at it. Go for it. I don't have a problem with anybody. They're not my drills. I do spend a lot of time trying to create my own drills and keep things flowing. But I never with George, never stole any drills from George, man. But I like his style, man. I really, I don't know if you remember Robert Young. Yeah. So Robert used to have camps too. And those are two guys that I really looked up to. It was George and Robert, man. And, and I worked with both of them, and they're awesome guys, awesome trainers. And, I just wanted to do my thing. And I never thought I would be traveling around the country or anything. I was just having fun, learning as much as possible. And each and every time I got around some awesome players or coaches, I would try to learn from them. And even today, just learning from my buddies and picking their brain. And, even one time I went to, I asked Mike Kendrea when he was still coaching if it would be possible to attend one of his practices. And he says, yeah, just don't film it. And I said, no, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not
he
stealing
heard about
you. Did you talk to Norm? George. And so I was in the stands and watching, I had a couple girls out there that I knew that, we used to work together, and Mike was awesome. He was out there. He had two fungos, man. He had one for the infield, one for the outfield. He was awesome. But I remember getting a chance to talk to him at the end, and he says, "Hey, so are you doing business in town?" And I say, "No, I took a vacation day to come out here, and things are going really well for me. And you're a mentor to me, man, and I just want to learn as much as possible." So, but I did get a chance to tell him, and not that he's just a great trainer, great coach, but a really, really great person, and I looked up to him.
Yeah, it's funny because I mean, that's one of the things that like George had said, like, it's one thing, man. Everybody looks and thinks all, this or that, you know, you're making so much money or somebody's doing so well, but like, go try it. Like, go try it. Like, people need to go try it. Like the ones that want to look at things and like judge. That's why he's like. That's why I got so much respect for Tony. He goes because he's out there just grinding every day. I remember you telling me a story one time. You were showing me your hand, and each knuckle had a callus for each day of the week.
That's kind of like my resume there. Yeah, it's a grind. A lot of people don't know, when you're working a full-time job and really having fun doing this, and the demand for you to get out there, and I don't like saying no. And
Yeah,
man, I remember even in West Covina a couple years ago, I would leave or I would work remotely from home. And so I would leave and I live in Torrance. So I would leave about 3 in the afternoon. My clinic started at 7. I would get there at a local shop, get on my laptop, call customers, finish up on work, get to the field about an hour before that. It started at 7. So I'd get there about 6, prep the field, get out of there at 9, get home about 10. And didn't really make that much. I'm real generous with my coaches. I have some
right,
good coaches
right.
out there that help me. And I did that for about 2 years. And I was like, man, that's 7 hours. 7 hours, and I just had to relocate it. Was kind of getting involved with work too much, and so I just kind of relocated to another local city. But it's a grind, man. I have stories, man, where I'm flying and miss my flight, or staying, I don't know, 6 hours at an airport. One time I was with my boy Heath Miller out there in North Carolina. I've done a ton of stuff in the Carolinas. Those guys are great out there, and he took me back to the airport. But going back a little bit, the clinic was over, and I know the airport was about an hour away. And I asked one of his buddies, his coaches, "Hey, how, just to confirm, how far is the airport?" And he says, "About an hour away." And he goes, "What time's your flight?" And I go, "At 4." And he looks at his clock, and it's 3 o'clock. And I said, "Heath, we got to bounce, man." And he goes, "Oh my God!" So we were rushing. He was calling the airport, hold on. So I, missed my flight, and just a lot. It's a grind, man. It
Yeah,
really is. But that's that process that we talk about that people don't understand. Like this whole journey, it's great where I'm at today, but it's about how I got here, and I
right.
watch a lot of videos, motivational videos, and everything, and once that motivation goes away, it's all about discipline and being able to commit to those places, and uh, it's a grind, man. It's and so, but now, shit, I'm working like 3 hours a day.
Yeah, yeah.
And I haven't really even started to push my brand. I'm getting an app pretty soon. They're designing that right now. I don't know if you know Ben Pasco.
I do. I actually sat with him and talked about doing my own app as well.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. So, I was putting my resume together, a little bio on that, and I was like, man, I've it looks pretty good. From 15 years ago to now, you know, I've been, on the plane, especially like 5-hour flight to Hawaii, or even connecting flights. There's nothing to do but, brainstorm. So I'm writing down my goals, and I'm thinking about, you know, where I'm going next, and even Cuba,
No
even
kidding.
Cuba. Yeah. With Manny and I called me up
Okay.
and said, "Hey, Tony, you want to go to Cuba in August?" And I said, "Yeah, let's go." And so we're going to roll that out today. You'll see a flyer out there. But it's just nonstop. And like I said, I haven't even started. I think the last time I put a TikTok video out there, and my daughter takes care of all that, was in November. And I think we got like 100,000 views in 2 days, 1,000 comments. And we haven't put, a video out there since, because she's busy and she's great, but I respect her time and everything. So, there's a lot of stuff going on. And like, you called me up, and I
Yeah.
said, let's do it. And honestly, I'm not that guy where I get in front of a camera and start, talking, but, you're a good dude, man. I love you, man. And when you ask me, let's do it, but, there's a lot of stuff coming up. Like I said, Hawaii in about a month and a half, Cuba in August, Vegas in a couple weeks. And it's just crazy, just crazy.
So you haven't done so your social media, your daughter does it?
Yeah, she does a pretty good job,
Yeah.
and we've, we've got put up some pretty good numbers, and I don't know anything about that. I kind of stay in my lane. So, even, working with Derek Allister, we talked about earlier, and working some of his camps, and it's probably about, I don't know. And I think I was coaching with Doug Myers and Steve McNee, and they introduced me to Derek, and Derek, brought me out one time, and he was saying, "Hey, you're pretty good with the stick, with the fungo, man.
Yeah.
You want to come out?" Yeah. And so we started doing those camps annually or a couple times a year. And now he says, just go out there and do your drills. And
Yeah.
I was like, really?
Yeah.
Okay. And but yeah, that's, I really haven't touched the surface of what's possible out there, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
Are you so you said that an app is next, and what is that going to be for you? Is that going to be like, what are you putting that out for?
Yeah. And actually I do have 8 videos, instructional videos out there for sale on my website and CoachTube.
Yeah.
And they're just basic videos. A lot of people, when they request to have me come out to, back east, I can't make it. So they were, hey, you have any videos? And, that, again, that's not my gig, man. But how we always talk about, start getting comfortable being uncomfortable.
You have to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
that's how we grow, So I have those coming out. Those will be on my those 8 videos. I think it's like throwing, fielding, arm angles, short hops, quick hands. There's a reaction drill, double plays, and I think there's a wall drill. There's a video in there with a bunch of drills you can do just on a wall.
Yeah. I was looking at your social media, and I saw some videos on YouTube from like 10 years ago. Dude, I mean, imagine, because here's the deal. Like, imagine if you were doing, even one a week for the last 10 years. You'd be in a different like universe as far as the YouTube stuff goes.
And again, talking about that process and why we do things and the why. I never got into this, man, to make money. I loved working with kids and loved what George was doing, loved what Robert Young was doing, and just wanted to get out there and have fun. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, but here's the thing, this is a service. This is something that is needed, and it's obvious that you're good at what you do. Because if you weren't, people wouldn't be coming back. So, your price is right. You're consistent. I'm sure. I mean, I see your flyers all the time. You're convenient, I imagine, and so like, people pay, and because we got to find something for our kids to do, and if they want to, if your daughter wants to get better at softball, she's gonna have to go train because nowadays, I mean, even just to make your high school team, it's not easy. So, I mean, I think you sell yourself short a little bit. I think this is a business, and when I said you're out there making money, I didn't mean it in any other way.
Oh no, absolutely, yeah,
yeah. I mean, but at the end of the day, man, like, hey, your time is worth something, and you provide a service, and if you weren't doing a good job, nobody would show up. So
yeah, I totally agree, and but I know there's guys today. Hey, I want to do what you're doing. No, you see the dollar signs. You got your calculator out, and you're seeing, that we had 80 kids show up that day, and the next day in a different city we had another 100 kids show up, and I didn't get in it for the dollar. I really wanted to see if I can get these kids better, and they're getting better.
Right.
Last 3 years I was helping. Was coaching a team, 10U team. Then there were 11U, then 12U, and some of Sean Bashir, awesome. Watched a little bit of his podcast with you. He's awesome. But a couple of his coaches in the same division were like, man, your defense is probably the best defense we've ever seen. And it was one of those things where they would just come out once a week at practice. We didn't do any drills. It was all situational, bunt coverage,
game IQ stuff.
Just, game IQ plays and all that. But these kids would attend the clinic every week, sometimes twice a week. And that's how George's players got better.
Yeah.
They would come out and just get a ton of reps in, quality reps, doing things the right way. But, getting back to the cost, yeah, I do see there's a cost, and my time is valuable. I don't do one-on-ones. I just don't have any time. But I'll reach out to a player if she needs. I'll send her a video, whatever I have to do. But I got into this for the right reasons, and a lot of people may say, "Hey, man, this guy's doing it," but they don't see the grind behind it. It's a grind, man.
Everybody wants to be, whoever that is at the top, right? Whether it's in anything, softball, the business you're in, and all they see is that old saying, the tip of the iceberg, but they don't see what went into it in the earlier times. I mean, every time I start, feeling sorry for myself, or start feeling like, man, I want to win this event, or I want to make sure we get back to this, or go to these events and show well. Like, I look at everybody else and I go, well, that dude's been doing it for 30 years. That dude's been doing it for 25 years. I mean, 15, 16 years in, is what it is. You got to keep grinding. But I think if, when you say you do it for the right reasons, it's funny because I think the guys that do it for the right reasons, just, they don't even really know it until later. Like, everyone starts seeing the success and then they go, oh, well, that guy's making money doing this, or that guy's got all these teams are doing that. But like, at the end of the day, like, it grew organically. Now you can totally tell the person that's out there, they've got a plan and they're going to get 10 teams in each state and they're going to do this and this and this. And they're calling people and they're advertising every week. I mean, I see that stuff every single day. But dude, I think you're right. I mean, you're doing it for the right reasons, and, you keep filling them up. Let me ask you this. Who do you like doing camps with? Like, who, when it stands out, who have you had a lot of fun hosting camps with?
God, man, I've hosted camps with, man, even Olympic players like Lisa Fernandez,
Yeah,
Natasha Watley. Even we were in Maui with Leah, Miko O'Brien, Tiara Jennings. Man, did I tell you that I went to Hawaii and American Samoa in December of 23 with some of the top Polynesian players in the country? Kalani Ricketts, Chasanalo. There was Chloe and Tess and even Megan. It was, I mean, it just makes me feel, like special to be around those players, and just, to be asked. I think it was George Manolulu who asked me and if I wanted to attend that camp. It was a big deal. A lot of those girls, are Polynesian. They've never been to Samoa though, and just to be a part of that, it's great. So, getting back to your question about Tiara Jen is great. Lisa's awesome. Doing many camps with those guys.
I heard she runs a great camp. I had some players go to her camp at UCLA in the fall, and one of the parents said that was a well run.
Yeah, Lisa's awesome, man. Her energy, she's great. We've had, I can't even tell you how many camps we've done together, especially with the young players. Man, she's awesome. But
you want me to tell you a funny story about?
Yeah,
I'll tell you a funny story about Lisa. This fall we were at an event here in Phoenix, and she was walking around, and one of my coaches, we have a really good 27 pitcher. Her coach is Ray Camacho. I don't know if you ever heard of him, but he was a volunteer assistant or assistant coach at the U of A with Mike Andrea. And so Ray tells me, he's like, hey man, he goes, Ev's throwing like mid 60s, dude. She hit 67 and this and that. And I know she does really well. And so I saw Lisa walking around, and I know that they had some interest. And I said, hey coach, cause I don't know her. Like, I know a lot of people. I don't know her. Never really talked to her too much. Yeah. It's funny because I walked up to her and I said, hey coach, I said, I got a picture that I think, is probably in that range. Could be something you could take a look at. I said, she's throwing mid 60s. She's a 27. She just looked at me and she said, okay, cool. Gave her a flyer. A few minutes later, she walks over to the field, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, you know what? I don't really know her. She doesn't really know me. So I started thinking, I'm like, I've never put a gun on this kid. Like, I don't know for sure if it's mid 60s. She's going to go. And it didn't look like it, dude. I was sitting there going, damn, that don't look like mid 60s. So I walked over and I go, hey coach, just so you know, I've never put a gun on this kid. And her coach, Ray, who told me that, he's a men's fast pitch guy, really good, successful pitcher. And I said, those fast pitch guys, they all say they throw 75. So it might look like mid 60s. So she was just laughed and she's like, yeah, no problem. She goes, no problem. But yeah, she sat there and watched the game. But yeah, she seemed super cool. And like I said, I've never really talked to her too much, but
Yeah, they love her. We went to Maui and we went to Oahu. They loved her. Another guy, Tony Rico. I love doing camps with Tony. We actually went to Hawaii too. He was out
really,
there for a minute. It was getting a little hot, and next thing you know, he's in the dugout talking to Levi, Justin's dad. I'm, dude, what the? You gonna come out here and get some reps in or what? And Tony and I actually went to North Carolina too. Did a big camp out there with our guy Heath Miller, and Heath's a lot of fun too. So he's running D up out of the Carolinas. I think
I saw that.
Even our boy Joe Martinez out of Texas. Joe, great guy. He's running camps out of there. I think we got Indiana, Ohio, but even Hawaii up in Maui. Kind of branched off a little bit. Lend my name to a few folks out there.
If you had to explain your brand, like to somebody who doesn't know, like what is your brand stand for?
Man, you're gonna have some fun. We always got to have the music. Even right now, I got the radio plugged in, making sure you could tell when you don't have the music, that energy.
It's different, huh?
It's different. No, I mean, that's the brand, the music. You're gonna have fun. You're gonna, I got the right people out there. I have some really good coaches that work with me in different cities. My buddy Ruben from the Bat Busters, Oz. I got Destiny Garcia. I have female athletes out there, that graduated from college and come out and help. They're awesome. Robert and Paul. I got these guys that really know, Steven and Ralph. These guys know, how to run a station. If I say, hey, you're going to go out there in left field and run the quick hand station, they know what I'm looking for. Short hop station, and obviously, we get different levels of talent out there. So you're not going to do the same kind of short hops, with kids that are 14U with the kids. We get a lot of young kids out there too. I got to tell you, man, some of these young kids that are coming out that are 8 years old, these kids, there's this kid named Skylar, man. Delatoria. There's these kids, Woofy and Jessa, man, that I work, and I can't wait to see them tonight. And these kids are the next, Cispates out there. They just get it. And once they get it, they do it over and over. And, the thing with me is once I see that a kid gets it, I'm going to make the drill harder. And they're like, Coach, I can't do it. I know you can't do it. That's why we're making it harder. And then they get that. And then we change it around. The biggest problem I find with coaches, they don't challenge players enough once they know how to do something, But, they gradually have to get there and then identify that, hey, now they're ready. There's some players out there. I got this kid named Emrod. Jazzy. Put on a show. Just fun to watch. But when you get him at a young age, just like anything else, what's the best age to learn a second language? Younger the better. And then get as many reps as you can.
Are you a detailed guy when it comes to these camps? Do you have an idea of who's coming out, and you're ready for it, or you just wing it?
We just wing it,
because you're good at it already. I mean, you know how to run it.
I was telling somebody the other day, my boy Walt, that we've been coaching together for about 15 years, that now I'm comfortable just by watching them play catch and do a quick assessment. And from there, we'll split them up in the stations where they belong. I rarely ever put a practice plan together anymore. I just know what I'm going to do by what the player can do, or more importantly, what they can't do.
Right.
And then we'll, separate them by stations. It's I think last Tuesday in Torrance, there's about 80 kids out there. Wednesday in La Mirada, there was about 60 kids. And then Thursday in Mary Star, and it's pretty cool, especially with the younger players. And once we identify that, they're doing better, me or another one of my coaches will go up to them or even grab their parent at the end of the clinic and just, did you see it? We get excited. I have Medina Team Player Awards now that I pass out every clinic to a few kids, and it has nothing to do with being the best player out there. It just has to do with understanding the process and leading by example, and and just doing everything it takes to be a team player. And the parents get excited at the end. The players get excited. It's pretty cool.
You said that you said your next event is you're going to Vegas, you said? Who are you going out there with?
Probably I talked to my buddy Ralph. He likes to, a couple. I love taking coaches with me, whether it's North Carolina, Hawaii, coaches that I really can trust and put them at a station and know that that kid's going to get better.
Yeah.
So I think my next event is where are we going? I think it's in 2 weeks, but looking forward to these next 3 weeks and what I may, not next 3 weeks, but Friday, Saturday, and Sunday doing these league camps and just getting these kids better. And I may bring some younger kids. And what's pretty cool is when, you bring out one of your stud, 10-year-olds or 9-year-olds and people are like, that kid's 9, that kid's 10. And I think that's what helps in the videos, as well.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I saw, did I see something that you did something with Trotsky?
That's my dude. If you look over there to the right, I have Mike Kendrea. There's a picture of Mike Kendrea, Trotsky, and myself. Picture of some of the players that I worked with. But Nate's awesome. So how I met Nate, it was my buddy Ryan Sousa, and he's no longer with us. He passed away some years back. But we used to talk every night. He's from Maui, and Ryan used to fly down and about 3-4 times a year and try to get the best training out here with Mike Stiff and and some, I think it was some other instructors, but he would go back and take what he learned here and teach his players and everything. But we used to talk every day, and text and talk. And he says, "Hey man, you ever met Nate Trotsky?" And Nate played ball with Benny Agbayani in Hawaii. And I said, no, I never met Nate. And he goes, "Well, I'm gonna hook you guys up." And I remember, texting Nate, and we set up a call on a Saturday, and man, we talked for about an hour that day. And again, it's just learning from the best. But Nate's pretty awesome. I actually I worked with Nate with the national German baseball team. I went with Nate to Hawaii. That was pretty awesome with my boy Jerry Painter out there. I've done some stuff with Nate out here at Downey High, sold out. Nate's good. Nate's really, really good.
You ever seen that video where he's talking to I think it was at a baseball convention where he throws the ball up in the air and he catches it.
Timing,
dude,
rhythm.
Oh, dude, I thought that was a freaking great video.
And it is. And there's so many great things I could say about Nate. And every chance I get, I'll text him. Even a month ago, he's a busy guy. But I'll ask him about this. One of the things that I asked him about too is, everybody does the alligator in softball, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm actually working with Valley Gloves. There's Dave Valley. He's an awesome guy. A few years ago, I did a camp fundraiser for 3 players that had lost their fathers, and Dave had donated some gloves. We were able to get those kids about $1,000 each that day. But anyways, when I was looking into training gloves, a lot of the professional baseball players don't do this. They come to the side.
Right.
And so I wanted to ask Nate and get his input on that, because I don't know everything. I'm still learning today.
Sure.
I mean, when you and I talked, and I did a camp with you one day, and even the last time I saw you at the on deck camp, we're talking throwing, fielding, and all that stuff. But what Nate said was the reason why professional baseball players don't do this is because if you get a bad hop, you're locked. You're locked. And so when you're doing this, you get a bad hop and you funnel with those soft hands. I was like, wow, check that out, man. A lot of things, of things I go to Nate for and things like that. So he's awesome.
Tell me about your firecracker teams. It looks like you got a few of them.
I've never ever asked anybody, "Hey, do you want to go under my umbrella?" Sean's the guy.
Yeah,
Sean's the guy. But
but it seems like if you want to be a part of your training, and it seems like an easy, natural fit.
Tony's been a huge mentor of mine, Tony Rico, and I actually had lunch with him last week, and my Medina Softball Clinic brand is just blowing up, and I got a trademark last year, and I told Tony, "Hey, you know what? I think it's time to kind of step it up with my Medina Firecracker brand. It's very similar to D-Up in just the culture and everything that we preach." And so we met, and people say, "Hey, how do I be a part of the Medina Firecrackers?" I was like, give me $2 a month per player, which is charging $2. Because
Right.
again, it's if you need my help, what do you need? And
Right. Right.
so the coaches will come out and we'll have a tryout together. Some of my teams are doing well, just like anything else. You have your top teams, and then you have your teams that need a little bit of work. But it doesn't matter. For me, I'm here to help any way I can. But I do love the younger players. Some of these players. There's this kid named Aaliyah, Ralph's daughter, and man, dude, this kid worked so hard. She was trying to make our younger team, and she was coming out like 4 days a week. And I remember parents or coaches that, hadn't seen her in a while. All of a sudden, a few months later, that's the same kid. That the quickest hands around, hands down.
Yep.
Just that's Aaliyah, and I can't wait to see that kid in a few years. This kid works hard, but so I'm going to try to grow it for the right reasons, though. We actually went to Hawaii with my team in March of 24. We went like 50 deep, and we did a little tournament out there with Jay, and I got to see my buddies Henson and a few other coaches out there, Coach Okimoto. Man, I got so many friends in Hawaii, and I tell this to a lot of people. I like softball. I don't want to say I don't love it, but man, I just love the relationships that I build with these folks from all over the country. There's just so many people that I've met, great people, and even on a weekly basis. Dan Schneider, Dan Schneider,
Mhm.
Tony Rico, and Heath Miller. We'll get on a text like almost a few times a week, and it has nothing to do with softball. Just just corny videos or how you doing or things like that. But we took our team out to Hawaii. Nobody does that. I remember these young coaches. We're going to Texas. What did you guys do? Fuck, man, we went to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. So are you coaching any team, or are they just kind of
No,
you're just kind of leading the?
I was coaching the last 3 years. I was coaching a 10U team, and it kind of got a little messy. Earlier, I stepped away. Sometimes these new coaches today, hey, I've been doing this for a long time. I won All-Stars last year, and I'm an All-American.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm a forklift driver, man.
Yeah.
So it's kind of stepped
Yeah.
stepped away. I don't buy into all that stuff. I'm into good people, integrity, and so I'm helping out a lot of my teams right now.
Yeah. Got it. Yeah. No, it's a different animal. I mean, for sure.
So what do you think? Are you coaching a team right now?
I do, but I've had some really successful people tell me that I should stop coaching a team and run my org. And I don't know, man. I actually really, really enjoy, like you said, you enjoy the relationships. I enjoy the relationships with the kids. The kids that were out there. I like to go. I like to practice. I like.
I love to practice.
I like my 4-hour practices. I like my. I like my. 2-hour workout on Saturday morning, and then a quick light lunch while I drag the field, and I've already got teams made up, so we inter squad. I love that. That to me is fun. So to ever be in a position to where I've just got to watch, I don't know, man. I mean, I'll always consider. I got some really good young coaches coming up, but I haven't won anything. I want to win something. I want to win one of those. I really do, man. I enjoy it.
I love to compete, man. But sometimes competing gets kind of old. Hey, we competed. Yeah, you always compete. What about getting that W? Try. Win. Win once in a while.
Well,
learn how to win.
You know what they say. I mean, you'll never get it if you quit. So, for me, I mean, that's how I feel. I want to win. I truly do want to win a national championship. It's a goal of mine. Will I ever get it? I don't know, man. Because like we talked about earlier, I'm a good guy. I'm a nice guy, right? So. But
you know what I love, man? I love coaching and strategizing and putting a plan together. So there's always a plan at tryout. There's always a plan in the beginning of the season, middle, and at the end. There's always a plan about the friendlies. There's a plan championship games, championship play.
Yeah.
There's always a plan. I think there's a lack of that from coaches, especially new coaches. How are you going to pitch to this batter? I don't think there's enough coaching going on. There's a bunch of coaches out there that have good players that lack quality coaching.
Yeah.
Their pitchers aren't warmed up. I love first and third. What are you going to do? I love when there's a runner on third. Mike Smith, that's under Sean Bashir. He's a great
Mm-hmm.
coach, and there's a lot of times that we'll play against each other, and he sees a runner at third. Are you going to throw a rise ball? Are you going to throw a change up? What are you going to do? Are you going to squeeze? And I love that part of the game.
Yeah, I'll see him this weekend. I'm actually going to his event this
Tell him I
weekend.
said hi. Yes,
I will.
Is that for Vern?
Yeah, and Steve Harrington, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what, Vern, can you see this right here? This is a card that Vern gave me.
Oh yeah,
That's my dude right there, man.
Yeah.
Again, it's about those relationships and just never forgetting. Vern was a good dude, man.
One time I was in Vegas for a tournament and I didn't book a hotel room, and or I forgot and I had to get one last minute. And he told me, he's like, "Hey, stay at the Golden Nugget. It's a little secret there. Like, it's a good little spot. Like, and yeah, I stayed at the Golden Nugget, and I think it was in Vegas. I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, because it's Fremont Street, right? Yeah, so I stayed right there, and totally good dude, man. Like, I'd see that dude all over the place.
And again, it's about those relationships, like yourself, man. I remember meeting you years ago, and you invited me out to a camp, and to see you do well, man. I love it, man. I'm so proud of you.
Thanks, brother. You remember that camp we did?
Yeah.
It just popped up recently on one of my timelines, and I was like, man, that was that long ago?
Yeah. How long ago was that?
I don't know, like 4 years ago, 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah.
It is a while back.
And I think I saw you at the On Deck camp, and I was like, Randy, what's up?
Yeah,
I was telling
yeah.
somebody, these new cats, right? I'm like, man, Randy Kaye asked me to do a podcast with him. And he's like, is that the guy that works for Easton? I go, that's Brian Kaye. You know Brian?
I don't.
Yeah, Brian, he's a good dude too. He actually, when I went to Hawaii, I did a camp on Kauai, the Big Island, Maui, Oahu, and Randy donated like 15 ghost bats, man. And it was awesome to pass those out to especially these kids that couldn't afford these bats. And it's pretty awesome.
That's awesome. I also saw, and you mentioned it, you do a lot of little fundraisers. How did that event go for the fires?
Well, okay. Yeah. There's another guy, Gil Ramos, Rogue, California. And
is there a Rogue, California?
Yeah. I told him he needs to hook up with you, man.
Damn.
He needs to hook up with you. But anyways, he had 4 girls from UCLA come out. One was Megan, and I love Megan Grant, man. She's the one who we went to Hawaii and Samoa. And we also did a camp with Lisa in Garden Grove not too long ago. But it was okay. And it was pretty cool too. Jen Schroeder donated a bunch of gear, and it was cool. Yeah, they paid me $500. I gave it to one of my families, a kid named Harper, house burned down.
You were affected by that? You had families affected?
Yeah. Everybody knows somebody, but there was this kid, Harper, great kid.
Damn.
Mom, Carolina, gave her my 500. We have to do that. If you're not giving back, you're not getting. That's, you got to give.
Right.
And there's so many takers out there, and I just don't want to be that guy. I want to be. So many. I can't even tell you how many, fundraisers I've done. Even for Steve Harrington, when he passed, I did something, in Fountain Valley for him, and that was pretty cool. But I think we have to do our part and make sure we're always giving.
What else is going on?
I'm just busy and grinding, man, and I love it because that's what you're supposed to do if you have a goal. And somebody asked me the other day, I think it was a new dad, hey, so what's your goal? I don't know, man. I just let the process take care of itself and see where I end up. But right now, I just love being out there with these kids and learning as much as possible. And but I'm not that guy that likes to be in front of the camera, man. I love being by myself, in the backyard after a clinic, drinking a couple beers with my dog, listening to some music, and just chilling, man. I'm a very, very private person, So
I heard you say you said earlier that that you listen to motivational stuff. Are you a podcast guy? Do you listen to different things?
Yeah, I'm a big.
Who do you listen
to? I love Joe Rogan. I love Eric Thomas, E.T. I love Inky Johnson. I love a lot of those guys, Goggins. And but I got to be careful because I take it to the extreme when I want to push myself. When I was younger, I used to push myself a lot more just to experience, kind of let the mind take over and push it to the limits. But there's got to be a balance, I remember, I don't know, I was telling the story. I did a coach's clinic up in Sacramento, And it was a Friday before the clinic on that Saturday and Sunday. And it was up this hotel, and the guy the host who set this up asked me to do a coaches clinic. So there was a conference room, and I don't do these, conference, these clinics in in these conference rooms. But I said, you know what, let me get out of my comfort zone. Let me try this. And so it was like 2 hours I was up. There was like 50 people, travel coaches, rec coaches. And I was really nervous, but I remember telling the story after I was a little bit more comfortable. Maybe an hour in, I was asking the coaches, "Hey, what do you do that separates you from all the other coaches?" And there was this guy raised his hand, and he says, "Well, we work hard." And I said, "You work hard?" I said, "How many other people were going to say that? How many other coaches were going to say?" Everybody raised their hand. I said, let me kind of share with you what I do that makes me a little different. And I said, I think my daughter was 16U. We were coming home from a 4-hour practice. And I said, Des, I said, "Do you think I can go to the gym and do 2 hours cardio?" She goes, "Yeah, Dad, you got this." So when you say something, you got to do it. That's kind of, I'm not going to say maybe, I don't know, I might. So I said, I'm going to do it. So I got to the gym, jumped on the treadmill, and I'm tired, bro. I'm exhausted just before I even go in there. And I did a half hour on the treadmill. I'm like, shit, how am I going to get another 90 minutes in, man? So I jumped on the bike, stationary, did another 30 minutes. Man, I'm exhausted, dude. I'm fucked, man. I'm done. And so I got another hour left, and I can't go home and face my daughter. And so I jumped on the elliptical and did another 30 minutes, man. So I got 30 more minutes to go. I'm like, how am I going to get this, man? Get this in. And so I turned on one of my YouTube videos, one of my best videos. It's Pacific Pride. And I seen like Tiara Jennings, Zeta, Mary, my daughter, Paul Granado's daughter in there. And man, I got my second win, and I finished that 30 minutes. So that's 2 hours in. But again, I got my second win, man. So I went another 30 minutes. And then I said, shit, I know I'm going to be at that conference, in that conference room with all these people in a couple of weeks. So I did another 30 minutes, man. And so I did 3 hours of cardio, just pushed myself to the limit. And, when I finished up with that meeting, that coaches clinic, I said, this is what I do. So when my kids are out there in Vegas and they're playing 5 games, it's 100 degrees. I know what they're going through. I know what that push is like. And I want to be there with them. And, but that's kind of what I feel separates me from some of these coaches out there, man. I want to feel that, man. And, I buy into a lot of the, work harder, outwork everybody, and, there's another story too, man. I remember, Sunday going to the gym, and I don't go to the gym on Sunday, but I had the key because I was the president of this, sports association. And so I go in there, and it's just me, it's locked, nobody's there. And, I'm on the stationary bike. And all of a sudden I look to my right, and see 2 sheriffs there, hands on their gun. And I'm like, hey, I'm good. I'm good. And they're like, "What are you doing in here?" And I'm like, "Well, I have the key. I was trying to get a workout in." And they're like, "Well, you're not supposed to be here. The alarm went off. The silent alarm went off." And I'm going, my bad. And they go, "Where's your license?" I go outside, get my license out of my car, show it to them. All right, go get your shit and get out of here. And so I go inside, grab my stuff, come back out. They're gone. I went back in and finished my workout. Just whatever it takes, man, sometimes. Right. But, again, you got to be careful with that balance, man.
How was it doing that that coach's clinic? I mean, how'd you feel you did?
They gave me a standing ovation after.
Yeah.
There was a few tears there. I when I start talking about my kids and just some of the things that, go on in softball that I've experienced, I get emotional, man. I've actually had some struggles.
You personally have had struggles?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
With what, coaching or?
Well, with work, I left work and went to see a therapist, and she, after a couple months, she diagnosed me with major depression and anxiety.
And so you went and did this coaches clinic with those feelings and feeling like that and being
no, but when once you get to a subject that you're talking about and it's real and you're passionate about it,
it's easy.
The feelings, it's easy. So I've been seeing a therapist for about 8 months, and I went to see her last week, and and I did have about an anxiety attack, and I don't know what anxiety is or whatever. I know when I have a panic attack or when I get real nervous and I can't do something, but anxiety, that's a little different. And when I was doing that camp with, the 4 girls from UCLA last Saturday, on the drive up there, I noticed something was different. Something I couldn't pinpoint it, but something was different. And when I got to the camp, I'm prepping the field, getting ready, and I can tell that something's not right.
You're talking about you emotionally?
Yeah, and,
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and I couldn't pinpoint it. I don't, and so some of the symptoms were, I couldn't, I couldn't focus. I couldn't keep my mind on something. My train of thought was just all over the place. It was racing. It was kind of like I was disconnected. I was off a little bit. So, man, you remember what happened uh, to who was it? Mark Campbell. Remember years ago on
Yeah.
the field? And I'm thinking, man, why am I feeling this way? So my buddy Steven was helping me, and he's a guy I can trust. I love Steven, and I said, Steven, something's going on here, and I can't pinpoint it. I don't know if it's an anxiety attack or what, but keep an eye out for me. And he goes, I got you, bro. I got you. And I go, how am I doing? He goes, no, you're fine. I can't tell. And I go, but I can. I'm all over the place. And it
Yeah.
lasted for about an hour and a half. And so when it comes to kids being different, or kids being bullied, or kids with mental health issues, I'm big on that. I do. I work with the special needs, and I've done some camps with adult special needs,
Mm-hmm.
and it just helps you realize that we're all different and we all have our struggles, and just make sure that we're being kind to others, and if there is somebody out there that is struggling with mental health, try to be there for them, try to get them some help, and this therapy really helps. But I'm in a much better place now, though.
Ooh, that's good to hear. Do you ever get nervous before a big camp? Like I don't know, like I know. So I'll give you a perfect example. No, I mean, this may not be the perfect example, but I do a Zoom camp every year at a Zoom into June, and of course, I've got all these people come in. I've put all this work behind the scenes to create sheets and get these pennies all set up, and everyone's numbered and identified, and you did all the advertising and things like that. And then if Oklahoma loses a game, no colleges can go. So there's that anxiety, but there's also the anxiety of, do you ever feel that, like, oh shit, I got a big camp tomorrow? Like you know it's going to be okay. You're going to handle it. You know what you're doing, but there's always that little bit of unknown when you're like, oh
Absolutely, man.
man, yeah,
Because you want it to go right, and
right,
you're checking the box and everything. I got this, I got that, the nets, the balls, the tees, the bases, the radio, and
yeah,
is it going to rain? Is it not going to rain? Uh, I, there is that a little bit of anxiety there that you just want. But what I do is, I try to prepare as much as possible. What's that John Wooden quote? Failing to prepare is preparing to fail.
right,
So
right,
just over prepare,
yeah, for
and
sure,
over communicate. But yeah, that's always there. I remember a couple times I was in Hawaii, and we were supposed to do a camp on that Saturday and a camp on Sunday, but it rained. I think I was out there with Ken Briggs, and it rained on Saturday. So we told everybody to come to the camp on Sunday, and there was like over 100 kids there. Man, we had stations everywhere. As long as we had enough equipment, my man Henson came through, and he had all the equipment. We had all the coaches. It was smooth, but yeah, just looking and trying to realize, I got this, man. I got stay positive, be prepared.
yeah. What do you like if you have 100 kids show up in your mind? You were expecting 30. There's 100 kids show up. Like in your mind, what does it immediately go to? Like, okay, how many coaches do I have to help?
Yeah. So as long as I have enough equipment, as long as I have, the coaches to help. And so I'm always prepared with calling, my coaches up. As a matter of fact, was pretty cool last summer, and in the winter, I did camps for just middles,
Mm-hmm.
and then I did camps for the corners, and that was really cool right there. And I just wanted to make sure, especially on my post, that we were limiting the amount of players.
Yeah.
And but sometimes we don't limit that, and you'll get 100. And as long as I got enough coaches, we'll do quick hands there, short hops, we'll do baseballs right there with no glove, we'll do double plays, flips, arm angles, tennis balls in the outfield, whatever. As
Yep.
long as I have enough equipment, I have enough help, we are good to go.
Sounds like my practice.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all that. Yeah. I mean, no, that's good. Um, did you ever have a camp go just really bad?
Yeah, of course, yeah. And you learn from that.
Yeah.
And I think, you know what, this happened in Arizona. I think Omar had set something up on a Friday night.
Omar,
Yeah, that's
my
our dude.
guy.
Yeah, my guy. That's my guy, man. And so, and he apologized, but again, man, I'm always preparing. I'm getting there early. Omar said he was going to get there on time. He's getting there late. But what he did that kind of frustrated me was he had the younger players with the older player, and to me, it's all about safety. And so I was like, man, and I had a mom actually call me out on it. She goes, "Hey, I was here last time when you got to Arizona, and camp was awesome. You were telling these little one-liner jokes, and you were pumped up. The energy was great. This time, it wasn't like that, and it was because everything wasn't there.
You weren't in control of it.
Yeah, and actually pissed me off because my name's on it.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I apologize. I think I sent that lady a hat or a shirt or something and said, "Hey,
did you sign it,
Cali?" No, I don't do that shit, man. But people do ask me, man. It was crazy.
No way.
Oh, dude, I'm telling you, it's crazy, man. Sometimes we have to, put maybe half hour in between sessions, so taking pictures and everything. And
I can see the picture piece. Yeah, for sure.
We were in Hawaii, and people were with Lisa, and people were having Lisa sign the shirt, and they're like, "Hey, Coach Tony, can you sign this?" And I'm like, "No, I don't want to sign that." They're like,
my
"Yeah,"
God.
and so I'm signing it right next to Lisa Fernandez.
What did she say?
She's looking at me going like this, dude. And I'm like, that shirt just went down in value.
Right.
Yeah, that happens, man. And I'm
That's
so
cool,
humbled
man.
by that,
That's
man.
cool.
It's what's crazy too is just walking through that airport. And again, man, I've been to over 22 states, man. I've been to Alaska, Canada, 4 islands in Hawaii, going to go to Cuba. And, when you get off that plane and you're walking through the airport and you're just like, dude, I think I'm that guy. I think I was with I was with my buddy Vic. He passed away, man. Vic's he's my guy too, Vic Wan.
I think I know who that guy is.
Yeah. Vic, he's
tall or thin dude.
No, he was my guy.
Oh yeah,
yeah. He used to coach, and that's his daughter Leilani. But we were in Hawaii, and we we're going to 4 different islands to do a camp, and he used to always go with me, and when we'd go to Colorado or Florida. But anyways, Hawaii, and they love him out there. But anyways, I'm messing with them, and I'm like, oh man, we're at the airport. Hopes nobody recognizes me. And Vic says, "Shut up." 15 minutes later, this kid comes up. "Are you Tony Medina?"
No way.
Yeah, she was
That's
flying
awesome.
in from another island. Yeah, it was. I'm like, dude, I'm not that guy, man. I love this and I appreciate everything, but I'm not that guy. I like softball, but I love people, man, and all the people that I've met. There's some great people out there.
Yeah, but it's a part of it. I mean, if someone's asking you to take a picture, it's no different than, hey, coach, can you tell me what I'm doing wrong with my fielding, or can you help me, fix my arm angle, or what do you think of this? I think, it's encouragement. I think it's a little bit of love.
A lot of love, bro. A lot of love.
That's cool, man. That's cool.
It really is, man. And I don't take it for granted. I pray every day. Thank you. Seriously, dude. After a clinic, like I said, I'll go in the backyard with my dogs, put the music on by myself, have a couple beers, and just really just thank the man above. And, I appreciate everything. Yes.
You have to thank him every day you get up.
Yes.
Because like they say, it's promised to no one, right?
Absolutely.
Tomorrow is promised to no one. You got any final thoughts, man, before we wrap this up?
No, just thanks for having me, man. Again, I'm not real comfortable in front of the camera like this. And like we tell our players, start getting comfortable being uncomfortable. So, and again, man, I'm so happy for all your success, man, doing these podcasts with big names out there. And I just ruined that, though. Oh, you had Tony Medina.
It's all good, dude. We're all, just being on, man. To me, it's like you said, and I tell this to people all the time, like, I just decided one day I was going to do it and just turn the camera on, hit record, and tried to figure out a lot of things. And I'm just going to keep my goal. I've said it 1,000 times on podcasts, but my goal is 100. I'm going to make 100. You're going to be, I think, 39. So 39 in. I think, and I said this before, I think every organization, I think you should do a podcast, man. I think you should get on and talk a little bit about fielding, or, recognize some of your former player, or, some past campers that you had. I mean, it goes a long way. And here's the other part. When you talk about your and this is why I think every organization should do it, because when you talk about your TikTok or your YouTube channel or any of that stuff, an hour's worth of video content and conversation turns into so many clips, like just little clips. And you might see some of my stuff I put out. I try to do it every day. I've been doing really good at it. It takes some time, but if you need some help, let me know, man. I'm happy to help you out.
Absolutely.
So cool.
Well, thanks, Randy. I appreciate it, man. And again, thanks for having me on, brother.
You got it. All right. I just want to say thanks for listening. We will continue working to elevate the sport and get caught up with those who are influential in the fast pitch community. And hopefully we can help you navigate your softball journey. If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Caught Up with Randy Kaye, using handle @CoachKAZ. You can listen to the audio version of our podcast on Google, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you consume your favorite content. Please follow us on X and Instagram using the same handles @CoachKAZ. Thanks again. Have a good day.
This one's for my wife. Could have left 1,000 times just about my side.